Welcome to a 1v1 on Kholodny Ferma Summer. This game is going to be Jesulin versus Tiburon 680. Jesulin playing as Oberkommando West in the east, Tiburon playing as US Forces in the west. Luftwaffe Breakthrough and Spec Ops versus Mechanized, Airborne, and Recon. If you were going to go Mechanized, probably would have by now, so I'm guessing just Airborne or Recon. See what he chooses to do. Rifleman jumping into the house by the munitions and just grabbing territory on both ends of things. Jesulin ghosts a little bit of wire right here. Interestingly enough, it's an interesting little maneuver. Before moving his Sturms to support an engagement in this general area. Riflemen easily win an engagement against Jesulin's Volksgrenadiers, set up in green cover right there. Sturms are jumping into the church. Volksgrenadiers are moving to take control of the south victory point. Has not set up his truck yet. 3 rifle opening to a 3 Volksgrenadier opening, so pretty standard stuff. Throwing out their corps of infantry before making any further decisions from there. Rear echelons taking control of this strategic point.
Volksgrenadiers back. Our resource sector has been cut off from our supply chain.
Sturms just hanging out in this general area will leave their position in the church when pressured by those riflemen. Riflemen here in the south moving to engage Volksgrenadiers. They'll win this engagement easily enough. Volksgrenadiers at long range doing pretty good damage right there, but riflemen on their flank will force them to retreat. Meanwhile, here in the north, Volksgrenadiers will win an engagement against those rear echelon troops, and he has gone Mechanized Regiment headquarters here, while Tiburon looks like he might be going Captain tier. With a 4 rifleman opening, it could be Lieutenant or Captain tier, though. It's hard to say. 4 riflemen into Lieutenant into AA half-track makes just as much sense as into Captain tier, into Steward or whatever. Volley fire doesn't do all that much. He still has to retreat his rear echelons, and he still would have won that engagement even without suppressing those Volksgrenadiers, although I guess it spares him a little damage on his rifle squad, but generally it seems to be a waste of munitions this batch. These 2 squads moving at a short range on that rifle squad. This could be a huge ambush, depending on how long it takes Tiburon to notice this. He does notice in a pretty short amount of time. He should be able to get that squad to safety. And Sturms will have to soft retreat away from these 2 squads. Or hard retreat. They just dropped 2 models right there. Jesulin wants to try and somehow win this engagement, but it doesn't look like this is a winnable engagement. I don't really think so anyway. There he goes. Retreats both squads. Riflemen here were forced to retreat from this general area. 2 Volksgrenadier squads are making their way to the cutoff to push away those riflemen, and Jesulin is fielding his flak half-track now. From here, he'll probably go Jagdpanzer, based on what I've seen of his play recently. Riflemen on the cutoff will get forced away now that the flak half-track is here. And I throw a AT grenade on it to damage its engine, but I'm sure it wasn't going to chase regardless, so that doesn't really do very much. It's going to get repaired quite quickly here in the back. Tiburon off to a pretty good start here with map control, but overall, now that Jesulin has that flak half-track on the field, things will probably start swinging back in his favor a little bit. Jesulin peeks around the corner with those Volksgrenadiers, pulls back, thinks about throwing a grenade, I think. Doesn't have the munitions, though. I think he just bought this Panzerschreck right here, so not a lot of resources in the bank for Jesulin right now. He has chosen Luftwaffe, but I don't think he's... Oh, yes, he has. Fielded an MG-34. It's the first doctrinal feature he will utilize this game. Tiburon still hasn't chosen his. Flak half-track moving towards the center to see what it can do, and we will see 4 rifles into AA half-track from Tiburon this game. Pretty aggressive, low-tech opening. Oh, so close.
assault back to full strength. Men are focused and ready!
Stern Pyro's set up here in the center. Will be forced away by this AA half-track. Now that both players have an AA half-track, it's a pretty even game once again. Tiburon can be a little bit more aggressive with his, because it doesn't have to be set up to engage. And he's going to send that north to push away some Volksgrenadiers in this house. They don't have any Panzerschreck, and they don't have any way of getting one anytime soon. They're going to get forced away, and no support is anywhere nearby to save them, so Jesulin will probably be forced to retreat unless he can just play Ring Around the Rosie on his house for a while. Riflemen jumping into the munitions point right there, and these two rifle squads look like they're probably going to get forced away as well. Neither of them has the veterancy for anti-tank grenades, and this Ghost is actually going to prevent that AA half-track from maneuvering optimally. You could consider destroying those, though. They won't last long.
The enemy is overrunning one of our capture points. Area is ours.
Jesulin's feeling pretty boxed in right now. He doesn't seem to be making any progress on any fronts. AA half-track is doing a good job of herding Volksgrenadiers back to base and just generally being annoying. Jesulin doesn't have an aggressive way to hunt and chase that thing because of his decision to go flag half-track instead of Puma to counter his opponent's 4 riflemen opening, so it's proving difficult. Raketenwerfer, though, ooh, does huge damage to that thing. It will be able to get away by just a tiny sliver, fortunately. And there's a Greyhound on the field, so there's the commander selection. Oh no! Nice wipe right there. We're going to see the main gun improvements to the Greyhound here. Does a pretty decent amount of damage to that thing. Not bad at all, but the Raketenwerfer is available to protect, so has to be very careful. Armor skirts are not quite done upgrading on it, and it will fake going south. Jesulin rotates south just to be sure. And he will get to safety with the armor skirt upgrade completing. He'll get that repaired. Some near misses on both of these light vehicles, but he's managed to keep them alive so far, and he's managed to maintain map control with them, so he's doing pretty well in that regard, but needs to be careful with that squad. There's a Stern Pyro squad in their retreat path. I don't know if they're going to get to safety. He does retreat before the flag half-track can get there, I think. I don't know. It's going to be close. Greyhound has been recruited, AA half-track's been recruited, Rifleman will get to safety easily enough. Those Stern Pyros didn't do all that much damage. Pretty unfortunate burst from them. Riflemen are going to grab the south fuel. Jesulin losing more and more territory as he gets pulled from north to south of this map. Volksgrenadiers try to slow the victory point drain by jumping onto the north victory point, and the AA half-track is moving to push these Volksgrenadiers away in the south. Jesulin has gone tier 2 in his base, and it's now going to be a nice slow crawl to the Jagdpanzer IV, which he will need to protect himself against Tiburon's tanks, which are also going to be a little on the late side because of his decision to go Greyhound. Not that that was a bad decision. Major's in progress now, and once that completes he will have access to tier 4 units. AA half-track pushes away a rifle squad, but no wipe. Although the lieutenant got wiped. I don't know how the lieutenant died. It's the only squad wipe this game so far that I can see. Lieutenant got wiped. I have no idea how that even happened. Meanwhile, a half-track is grabbing the victory point back here in the north, and Riflemen are going to get the munitions, and Jesulin continues to struggle to hold even a small amount of territory.
There's a major reporting for action.
Thanks to this really aggressive light vehicle opening.
Deploy into all-round security.
Raketenwerfer connects with that Greyhound. Pulls back to safety. Flak half-track is engaging here in the center. And there goes the Greyhound.
Vehicle just got destroyed. Follow me. I need cover. Grenade!
Grenade toss on those rifles. Nearly wiping the squad. Fallschirmjäger in the building to try and seal the deal. Doesn't quite work, unfortunately, and with the AA half-track available here, he's going to take some serious bleed. Could not wipe that squad. MG-34 trying to grab the center is not successful because of riflemen in this building, and the flag half-track will move to try and finish the job on that thing. Tiburon slightly losing map control. It's going to take a little while for him to get that first Sherman out. But he's still going to get it out well before Jesulin has the Panzer IV, and once it's on the field, that flag half-track is going to be in a lot of trouble. He does have access to one Panzerfaust, one Panzerschreck, and probably one more Panzerschreck plus the Raketenwerfer by the time the Sherman arrives, unless he chooses to plant some mines. Either way, he's got a little bit at his disposal, which could combat a Sherman and screen it away, but obviously he won't be able to aggressively hunt and kill Shermans until his Jagdpanzer's on the field. AA half-track takes a hit from the Raketenwerfer. We'll try and pull back to safety. This blob of infantry will force the retreat. Jesulin will lose control of the center again. Flag half-track set up here on the road will force one retreat. AA half-track engaging from this area. Despite being one hit from death by Raketenwerfer, knows that the Raketenwerfer's already retreated, so he's going to play a little more risky here. Try and force some retreats. Jesulin's units. AA half-track forces a retreat by the Major, but the riflemen jumping in the church will scare him off a little bit. One lone squad of Volksgrenadiers has managed to give Jesulin a lot more territory here in the south, but two squads of riflemen are being deployed down there to push him away. No upgrades of any kind on these riflemen yet, not even grenades. So he might want to consider throwing some upgrades on them. He's got 420 munitions in the bank. If he doesn't want to spend his munitions on rifle upgrades, he needs to throw those Pathfinders on the field. Start dropping artillery on some of Jesulin's stuff, like maybe his truck. Right there. Or even just clustered infantry formations. But since Jesulin doesn't really have a tendency to clump very many units in the same place, artillery may not be the right solution. I think BARs would make more sense, especially since the paradropped combat group costs no munitions and comes with weapons for free, so he really needs to spend that munitions on something. 450 is way too much to be floating. 15 minutes into the game, he could really crank up the pressure on Jesulin's infantry by throwing BARs on his rifles, and he could put a bunch of pressure on this thing by throwing bazookas on all of his riflemen. He could get one BAR and one bazooka on all his rifles and just have a bunch of slightly better infantry squads. Whatever he chooses to do, he needs to make a decision. Sherman's on the field, throwing a 50 cal on there.
Gun mounted. A capture point is under attack. This lousy patch of dirt is ours. Steady up. Ah, nuts. We got orders coming.
Riflemen taking control of the munitions and strategic point there in the south. Sternpowers find an opening to salvage the Greyhound right there. But they have to cancel at the last. Oh wait, maybe they don't. I couldn't tell if they actually salvaged that or not. It looked like they finished. I don't know. Either way, the Greyhound thing is destroyed. Sternpowers retreat. That could be the first squad wipe for Jesulin. Oh, there he goes. Very first squad wipe. Jesulin also getting back control of the north slowly here, but a Sherman is about to push him away. If those Fallschirmjäger land a Panzerfaust, he can at least prevent himself being chased. But he has to retreat immediately on sight. Panzerschreck does connect with the flat AA half-track right there, which keeps moving around. Riflemen moving in to support in this engagement, and with that Sherman available to support, Jesulin cannot stick around in this engagement. Volksgrenadiers will be forced to retreat away from that Sherman. They're taking heavy damage. This is one of his only two Panzerschrecks that could get wiped right here. And there they go. Raketenwerfer is placed nicely in the retreat path. And that Sherman will be forced back, but Not in time to save that Volksgrenadier squad, which is a pretty serious loss for Jesulin, who has only 2 Panzerschreck, now only 1 Panzerschreck left. He can't afford one more though. He's got 100 munitions in the bank. Not sure what he's thinking about doing with that munitions though. He might, now that his Jagdpanzer's making its way to the battlefield, he might consider a few mines or grenades instead to turn infantry engagements and tank engagements in his favor. These 2 squads making their way across the south to try and stop the victory point bleed as well as they can. Jesulin only has 176 points remaining, and it's very hard to set up a strong defense on any of the VPs on this map because of their placements. If you set up a really aggressive battle group headquarters near any of those VPs, you kind of split yourself in half between your battle group headquarters and your main base. And you generally need to keep all of your forces pretty close together if you don't want to just get picked off at various locations on the map by those really highly mobile American light vehicles and tanks. Major's on the field in addition to an ambulance, so he might be considering throwing a forward retreat point somewhere. AA half-track firing on Volksgrenadiers in the church. Jesulin's got Volksgrenadiers and machine gun defending here in the south. Should win this engagement versus those riflemen, which still don't have grenade research, so no smoke of any kind. Jump straight in front of that MG. Will probably get suppressed. Moves to soft retreat when he sees the engagement happening, but it's too late. And there's Fallschirmjäger in his retreat path as well, but I don't think Jesulin can wipe any of this. Gets a couple free kills though. Well on his way to Vet 1, which will of course give him access to the titanium tetrafluoride. Whoa, what happened there? Oh, the Jagdpanzer picks off the AA half-track. Apparently it got exposed for a little too long and goes down. Nice pickup by Jesulin. Exposed that AA half-track for a second too long, and Tiburon will now know about the existence of this thing. Makes me wonder what his solution's going to be. He doesn't have a whole lot of manpower to spare, having bought 2 fresh rifle squads just now. You can definitely think about floating a little bit as recon, because you can throw this on the field. That would give him an AT gun, despite not having gone captain tier, and possibly also bazookas, so it could be a nice thing to have. Sherman tries to take out the flag half-track. Oh, that attack ground! Perfect! Nice play. Very nice play. That should definitely give his infantry a lot more freedom to maneuver. So both AA half-tracks have now been destroyed. That's going to open up the battlefield for infantry movements on both sides, really. Jesulin does have the advantage of Fallschirmjäger, though, and these riflemen still have no BARs or grenades, and he's got 500 munitions in the bank. BARs help a lot against Fallschirmjäger. Should definitely consider it. Just went captain tier. Interesting choice. I wonder what motivated that decision. He has a huge core of infantry right now. That should hopefully help him get back control of the map, because Jesulin doesn't have that much hard anti-infantry right now. He lost a flag half-track and gained a Jagdpanzer, so he's got a pretty good protection against that Sherman, but against 5 rifles and captain, he might struggle a little bit. Even Fallschirmjäger can only do so much if they're not positioned nicely in cover. It's going to take a while for Jesulin to vet that squad up. Against 5 rifles and a captain, I might even consider a second Fallschirmjäger squad. Or maybe another MG or something, I don't know. But I don't think Volksgrenadiers, Stern Piles, 1 squad of Falls is going to cut it. It's going to come down to micro, like most things in COH2. These 3 squads chase away the lone MG-34 in the south, and Sherman doing good counter-harassment work in the north, but it does not have HE shells equipped, so I don't know, they might get away, they might not. Top-mount machine gun could finish the job even if the main gun doesn't. Nope. Dead. He could consider popping out the crew. He's gonna do it. Pops the crew, grabs the Shrek, jumps back in the tank. Look at that. Nice pickup, grabbing that Panzerschreck. Will he get away though? I don't know. Pops smoke in his retreat path. Beautiful play by Tiburon right there, stealing that Shrek from Jesulin, but he needs to keep moving. Jesulin's chasing so aggressively. He does round the corner. Oh man, that was close. I'm pretty sure that Sherman will get to safety. Awesome steal by Tiburon right there. Perfectly executed. Gets away, 1 shot from death from that Jagdpanzer, and Jesulin will pull that away back to safety. Jesulin. Riflemen jumping into yellow cover right here behind these sticks to engage those Volksgrenadiers. Captain jumping into the capture circle here. Riflemen are going to set up another triple cap against Jesulin. Really needs to try and get some territory permanently under his control, and he's clearly struggling because there's just so much infantry, and he doesn't have the tools left on the field with which to deal with them, and he doesn't have a whole lot of manpower either. If he floats a little more, he could maybe get another squad of Fallschirmjäger. I don't know.
That was too easy. Point out! Suppressive fire!
There's tier 4 from Jesulin, having gone kind of an interesting, kind of a fun build actually, to go all 3 tech structures and purchase a unit from, 1 unit from each structure. Makes a lot of sense, just intuitively, to go tier 3, Black Half-Track, tier 2, Jagdpanzer, tier 4, and whatever tier 4 unit he decides to make. Maybe Obers. Obers will be a little bit more manpower efficient than Fallschirmjäger. He's not exactly got tons of munitions to spare either for their LMG upgrade, but I could definitely see it. Jesulin's biggest concern right now is taking out that Sherman, which is now Vet 2. So Jagdpanzer is having trouble getting into position to deal with it. Nice Rakettenwerfer placement though. We'll screen it away from these Volksgrenadiers, and Sturmpios are also nicely placed to get rid of those riflemen. So they'll be forced to retreat. Fallschirmjäger had jumped in the church a little earlier. He might have been able to secure the wipe right there. Oh, that bazooka snipe. That was ridiculous. I don't know who's going to win this engagement. Falls at this range should beat the captain. Even with only 2 models remaining, doing a lot of damage. Jesulin is still triple capped. Finally gets some Volksgrenadiers up there to the north VP, and his MG-34 is going to try and grab the south. 1 squad of riflemen down here. Still no... oh, there it is. Grenade tech. Finally. Finally has grenade tech, but no other unlocks. I'm really surprised that he has not gotten BARs or bazookas, because he has so many riflemen, and they could be so much stronger. I kind of like this build though. Flak half-track into Jagdpanzer into Panzer 2. That looks well. Jesulin loves counter-harassment, by the way. I don't think I've ever seen somebody play so much around the idea of victory point control via light vehicles than Jesulin. He's very much about maintaining, forcing retreats from infantry with those light vehicles. Wow, look at that! That was ridiculous. That squad died so quick. Panzer 2 wipes that full rifle squad. That's one of 2 wipes that Jesulin has secured for himself. So he's going to have to be very careful with this, though. Now that 2 Shermans are about to be on the field, that looks will be 1 volley from being destroyed if it gets caught out of position. Well, 2 volleys. It'll take 2 volleys from the Shermans to destroy it.
The enemy is overrunning
if they engage it simultaneously.
Tank support is here. Sherman ready. The capture point is under attack.
Panzer 2 engaging these infantry formations, brings that AT gun low. Sherman and AT gun shot both miss. Sturmpios will clear the weapon before being forced to retreat. MG-34 is not angled correctly for this push, and they're also positioned in red cover, but the Panzer 2 will force a full retreat. The Jagdpanzer is somewhere. Where is it? Oh, it's way up here in the north, so it's not actually really available to protect this thing, but it falls. Volks and Rakettenwerfer are, so it's not too super vulnerable, and Tiburon is trying to maintain victory point control here in the south with this Sherman. Jesulin's taking control of the entire north, though, so he's in a pretty okay position. That Sherman's about to get spotted by Volksgrenadiers. The Jagdpanzer available to engage. Whoa, what is it doing? It's kind of a weird maneuver there by that Jagd. Sherman continues to probe and search here in the south, looking for an opportunity against the Lux, which is about to sustain engine damage, I think. No, not quite. Sherman also comes close to sustaining engine damage right here. Fallschirmjäger cannot quite get in range, and they will be forced to retreat from a grenade, but this engagement will see a Sherman destroyed by a Rakettenwerfer and Jagdpanzer. engaging it, trying to manage 2 engagements at once, and clearly he was paying about as much attention to that engagement as I was, and his Sherman goes down. It'll be very difficult to manage those 2 simultaneous engagements, and Jesulin emerges victorious there. These 2 Volksgrenadier squads now getting aggressive, taking control of the strategic point, taking up building control outside the American cutoff, while our Kettenwerfer grabs control of this territory, possibly doing some backcapping there as well. MG-34 defending the victory point. Grenade into the building, almost destroys it. Jesulin will be forced to retreat a little bit. His Panzer II is going to do some harassment in the south, getting a little brave, engaging the that captain squad. And he does fall low. He's gonna gamble. Oh, who's gonna win? I can't tell. Oh, the bazooka shot missed. What the hell was that? Oh, that bazooka shot missed. That was so terrible. Such short range, too. That's ridiculous. Our Kettenwerfer retreats from the strategic point up here in the north. Rifleman's gonna get that sector. Ooh, apparently a Volksgrenadier squad got wiped. I didn't even see that happen. So they have a Panzerschreck right now, throwing a smoke grenade into the point so they can jump into the circle, try and get that captured, and ticking against Jesulin, who has only 88 points remaining. MG-34 taking control of some territory down here, plus Fallschirmjäger doing the same. Lux and Panzer II are both Vet 2 now. Jesulin having a pretty good impact with both of those vehicles so far. Grenade toss in the center forces a retreat by those Sturms, plus just superior numbers. Airborne assault from Jesulin here in the back, looking for an opportunity with Squad of Falls, but he will be forced away by that Sherman for sure. And the plane does a lot of damage to that AT gun though. Still probably be forced to retreat this squad soon. He's going to try and clear the gun first. And the plane plus fall squad will be successful. Plus all infantry also needs to get out of there. Jagdpanzer and Panzer II moving up to get a little more aggressive against Tiburon's forces. The North VP is falling into the rifle squad's control right there. Jesulin wants to destroy this AT gun, but that Panzer II is going to take all day to destroy that thing.
Objective secured! We got a rifle squad. Wait. The capture point is under attack. Grub's got a Panzerschreck! Where's that coming from?
Rifleman taking a bit of damage in this engagement. And will be forced to retreat. Their grenade does wipe a Vet 3 Kettenwerfer, unfortunately, though. Jesulin had a lot of Vet on that thing. It was a pretty nice tool. Fallschirmjäger will win the engagement generally for the center, though, and the clock only ticks against Jesulin for 6 VPs before going back against Tiburon here, and Jesulin continues to wrestle control of the game. Back. Wondering what Jesulin's next fuel purchase is going to be. He currently has munitions transfer active, so I guess he doesn't plan on making any further vehicles. Unless he loses one of his existing tanks. Nice wipe. That's another rifle squad wiped. He had 6 riflemen on the field, I think, unless that was a captain. No, that was another rifle squad. So Tiburon's just making a ton of riflemen. And his munitions float's getting lower and lower just from throwing grenades constantly. Almost gets a wipe right there. And while there is something to be said about just spamming grenades all the time, he's still never fallen below about 400 munitions. His map control's been so good, so I feel like he could have kept up this huge amount of grenade spam and still been able to afford a lot of upgrades.
Our supply line just got cut off. Orders incoming! What the hell am I meant to do with these recruits? A capture point is under attack. Taking rocket fire! Well, grab your shit and follow me. Gather round. I smell orders. Better down the hatches! Stand ready! Capture complete! Pass complete. Stand ready.
Fallschirmjäger have to retreat from there. Jagdpanzer firing on the Sherman there. It's Both are going to have to pull back though as Riflemen make an attempt at the center VP. Jesulin threatens to be triple capped here in a second if he doesn't maintain control of at least one victory point. He will force a full retreat in the south with his Panzer II. I don't know if that squad even gets away. So many wipes. Every attempt for the south results in squads wiped. And even though Jesulin's about to get triple capped, it won't be for long. Volksgrenadiers are moving to get control of this sector and slow the clock. But he's going to get pretty good victory point bleed on Jesulin during this. Riflemen getting aggressive against that Raketenwerfer. More Riflemen moving up from this angle of attack. Will get clear of the arc of fire before they get suppressed. Raketenwerfer gets stolen, although he might lose that rifle squad as a result of his decision to attempt that. I don't even know if the Raketenwerfer will get away either. It's falling quite low. Does get clear of Panzer II, which suffers engine damage from that rifle squad and will escape. Jesulin down to only 50 points at the moment when he retakes control of all three VPs. There's still a Vet 1 Sherman on the field here and a second one in production. If you can utilize those to just get victory point control for a little longer, it won't necessarily be a requirement to take out any of Jesulin's vehicles. He just needs to get VPs for a little bit more time. Had a great early lead and he's slowly losing it. But he's got some time to try and execute plays for the VPs and just bleed out the rest of Jesulin's victory points. This rifle squad is trying to do just that, jumping into the capture circle, grenade, threw the grenade in the Volksgrenadiers' retreat path, hoping Jesulin would notice late and just hit retreat. Trying to play some mind games. Both of them will dodge the grenades easily enough though. Taking minor damage there. A couple squads need to reinforce here by the ambulance.
Sherman ready. The enemy is overrunning one of our capture points.
Panzer II will secure control of the south. The north has been taken by Riflemen plus Sherman. With two squads of falls on the field, Jesulin has some pretty strong anti-riflemen, but that Sherman is being allocated correctly to deal with those elite infantry. And this fresh Sherman should also do a pretty good job of forcing Volksgrenadiers to retreat. That Jagdpanzer continues to be a serious threat that Tiburon has no real solution to. Panzer II going in on the rifleman right there will force a retreat. Bundle grenade from Fallschirmjäger forces one retreat. The other two squads pinned by the MG34 right there, and they're unable to take control of the center VP. There's Jesulin's Panther. I guess he did decide to. I don't even know. Has he ever switched off munitions transfers, or just been that long? I guess it's just been that long. At plus 10 fuel coming in, he finally had the resources for Panther. All the rest of his munitions going into grenades. I don't think I've seen any mines. With that Panther on the field, it's going to get even harder for Tiburon to get victory point control. It's going in very hard against those two Shermans. There was never an M20 on the battlefield at any point, so Jesulin has no reason to be afraid of mines. Smoke deployed, Jesulin will pull back to safety. Now that his Panther's down to about 2/3. I think those Shermans are being overzealous though. I don't think they'll win this. Not with Panzerschreck support, and the Jagdpanzer could be anywhere. There goes that one. I don't think this is an engagement he can possibly win unless he gets a miracle. And there it is. He knows the game is lost because he cannot destroy this Panther. His Shermans have just been destroyed. Jesulin slowly taking control of the entire game, and despite Tiburon having an amazing early lead, he let it slip through his fingers. If I had one suggestion for Tiburon, other than just generally slightly better micro, trying to preserve his squads a little better, I think he had a lot more squad wipes than Jesulin throughout the course of the game. Instead, I think he should have spent his munitions a little bit more aggressively, especially early on. He did manage to bring his munitions count down pretty low by the end of things, though, compared to how it was earlier. So good game. Axis wins.